Thank you, Brother Richard, for sitting down once again for Behind the Final Call cover story. We are once again here live at the Final Call building in your office. You know, there's a lot going on here because there's a lot of work being done. And we are in crunch time, so we had to get it in however we can get it in because, of course, we in Savior's Day season. But we still had to take a little time out to get into the latest edition of the Final Call newspaper right here. Of course, everybody knows what's going on or has heard something about our brother Kobe Bryant and his daughter. I'm not going to jack up her name, so I'm not going to say it. I'll let you do that. Gianna Bryant. And this is volume number 39, number 17. The date on the paper is February 4th. I'm going to ask a question that sometimes I ask that it doesn't make sense really for me to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Why this cover story?
First of all, assalamu alaikum. This cover story, brother, we thought was very important and very appropriate because, one, part of what we try to do at the Final Call is to capture and document various aspects of black life. And those elements of black life that are important, and even black laws that are important, and to present them in a particular way that allows our people to gain some insight on some level about the person involved. Kobe Bryant was a global figure. It's obvious based on the responses that have occurred globally. It was a tragic and sudden event which left people shocked and hurt, and my oldest son is a great Kobe Bryant fan. So what we wanted to do was to capture some of that story, some of that experience, and to document in our own way the life of this young man, and in particular his connection with his daughter, which I think is really rang with so many black fathers that have daughters, that they understood the love that he had for his daughter and what he did to try to promote her development as well as the development of other young girls in athletics and other fields. So there was a lot in terms of his life, certainly his basketball accomplishments. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame, no doubt. NBA champion, going from high school into professional basketball, having a very successful career, leaving basketball and having a successful post-NBA career, showing that what you do on the court is really indicative of greater gifts that you have. You just have to develop them. So he was an entrepreneur. He was a philanthropist. He was a number of things. But one of the things that we really wanted to do, that we did, we wanted to point out his connection in ways to the black struggle. So we were able to interview Trayvon Martin's dad, who talked about Kobe coming to an event in 2014, right? That was devoted to the work of the Trayvon Martin Foundation and the work of bringing justice to our people. In this story, we talk about Kobe Bryant after the unfortunate death of Eric Garner in New York, where he was set upon by police, choked, couldn't breathe, and said 11 times, "I can't breathe." NBA players came out with shirts on and said, "I can't breathe." Kobe Bryant led that effort in Los Angeles. One of his last interviews, or what was reported as his last interview, he talked about the problem. He was asked a question about the problem of racism, in particular, how it has manifested now in soccer. Remember, he spent a good part of his life in Italy and in Europe, so he was familiar with soccer and swimming and other sports as well. And you have seen now a rash of incidents, racially charged incidents and insults hurled at black players. He spoke to that, talking about racism as a continuing problem and he felt that education was needed to eliminate it. So we wanted to bring some additional perspective to his life and his role and struggle. And we think it's a pretty good story. So that's one. We got another story about Brother Michael Muhammad out of Philly. So we know that Kobe was a native son of Philadelphia, came from basketball royalty, and if you read the article, you'll see why we say that. But we feel that both of those are very good, very fitting tributes to this brother, his family, and of course we send our condolences to those who knew him and those who loved him.
Thank you very much, Brother Richard, for that. We thank those who are joining us. Please like and share so that if you're getting some benefit out of this, and I'm quite sure you are, you wouldn't be on here. Don't keep that for yourself. Make sure that you share it. So we got some other things going on. The next article on page 3 of the paper is Division, Distrust, and Doubt. Growing acrimony threatens America's well-being.
I mean, again, you know, it is important that we chronicle, analyze, and present events that are happening in real time. So we wanted to look again, as we often do, at the climate in America and ask the question, where's the country headed? So incredibly, right, on King Day, January 20th, in Virginia, there was this huge rally on January 20th in Richmond. Ostensibly, we were told that people were there to protest some talk of gun control in the state. But it was such a volatile situation that the governor almost suspended operations. They erected fences around the Capitol and said that people without weapons would not be allowed on the grounds within these boundaries with weapons. So you had, all of these people, hundreds, I guess, generally white men with these heavy weaponry, and there was fear that there would be violence. I mean, think about this. This is the capital of the state of Virginia. Americans, mainly white men showing up with weapons, fear there would be violence in the street. One element of discord, division, and distrust. The impeachment trial of the president, divided country, divided electorate. Substantial numbers of people want the president removed. Others say he didn't do anything wrong. More division, more distrust, more doubt. The continued lack of any national vision, lack of any national healing voice, lack of any call for Americans to come together. Where does this leave this country? Where is it going? How long will this thing last, and what should black folks be doing? So, great story this week by Barrington Salmon, one of our contributing writers. And we really, just want people to read it and to consider, because it is a really excellent treatment about social political conditions in the country and the question of where this thing is going, which is a critical question for black people, because we're going to have to decide where our future lies. And does our future lie in striking out on our own, gaining control of our communities and making them decent places to live, following the program of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which includes separation, following the guidance of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who continually is telling us that we are in a dangerous time, in a dangerous position, and we have got to move into a safety zone. And we do that by accepting what Almighty God, Allah Himself, wants for us today. So these things that we see, for example, one of the other things that we saw 3 men that were supposedly on their way to this rally in Virginia who were arrested, and one man was detained in particular, with the judge saying that he was very dangerous and that he wanted to spark a civil war. This isn't the first time. So there's something happening in the country. It's a dangerous time, and we need to be aware and awoke and informed. So that's what we're trying to do with the final call, and we hope people will pay attention. We hope you will read, consider, discuss, because brothers and sisters, in this time, we cannot afford to be ignorant, informed, and we try to do that every week with the final call.
Thank you, Brother Richard, for that. And I noticed that you've been making that statement a lot more over the past few weeks of just the importance of us not getting caught up into what many of the frivolous things that are going on. Not that they're not important, and not that we shouldn't find. I heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan say that he has to find things to relax from being God. So we have to find those things, but at the same time, we can't be consumed for that, because we're in a very critical time.
Yeah, and the trend is to try to get us to major and minor things. You get a tremendous amount of celebrity journalism. You get a tremendous amount of gossip. You get a tremendous amount of reporting on how much money someone made, what happened in a fight. A lot of this being driven in ways that capture people's attention and kind of capture their imaginations, in particular in the age of social media. But how do those things impact lives? Your life, my life, the life of our communities, the school that your child goes to, the school that your child attends, how money is being spent or not spent, what's happening with the development of your neighborhoods or the lack thereof. So you also have the phenomenon, the rising phenomenon of what they call news deserts, which are places where you don't have newspapers, where you don't have news outlets, and there's a dearth of coverage about what's happening. So in this environment, and with so much going on in the world, we cannot afford to be solely distracted and almost exclusively dealing with news, dealing with entertainment news, celebrity news, gossip, because ultimately that is not good information you can use to better your life, to improve your community, and to solve problems. And we got real problems that we need to solve. So we try with the final call to make sure that we give you a good treatment of what's happening in the world, and through the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the article by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, guidance for how to move in a time like this. The article by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan this week, The Fall of America, guidance. And at a time of darkness and at a time of confusion, the premium is on guidance and who can move you safely from where you are to where you hope to be. So light, life, and power. These are the three essentials that we try to present each and every week in the final call.
Thank you, Brother Richard. Just wanted to jump to, first, before that, I want to thank those who are joining us from across the country and in many instances across the world. But we have our Queen sister in San Diego, California. Thank you for joining us. We got a brother joining us from Southern California. We got individuals who are from Dublin, Georgia. So please shout out your city. Let us know where you're calling or you're viewing from. And as usual, please make sure that you're encouraging others to join us for this great show. So, and we're looking for your comments and your feedback as well. I see someone said Democrats I think it's supposed to be Democrats like to keep you in fear. So we definitely appreciate your comments, your feedback, and please keep it coming on and make sure that everybody's liking it.
And I would say there is much to fear, but fear alone is not enough. If you fear something, it should make you aware of the fact that you need to take some action. To fear something is to recognize there's a danger or a threat. But if you recognize a danger or a threat, then the next logical move is to move to either eliminate the threat or move to protect yourself. So again, we have to always define our own agendas. We have to always engage in our own analysis. The minister's article this week is a beautiful article, and you really need to read it at finalcall.com, and you need to go to finalcall.com and subscribe so that you can get the digital edition weekly, or get it from the brothers weekly so you don't miss any information. But in the article this week, the minister talks about this Negro mind, where the first question you ask is whether or not Caucasian people will be offended versus whether or not something is good for you, your family, your children, and your community. So he warns us, so long as we cannot think independently in our own best interests, we are still acting in a position as slaves. Now, mental slaves.
Thank you, Brother Richard.
Free slaves. Voluntary slaves. So it's time out for that.
Yes, sir. And I can't ignore, we have to go and touch on what a lot of the country is discussing right now, of course, which is the impeachment trial. Of course, as you can see, it's going on right now in the backdrop. But can you let us know what's going on and what people can expect?
Of course, when we went to press, the president's defense was wrapping up its arguments on his behalf. I think that we're at this point on, what's it, 29th of January?
Yes, sir.
I think that today we're now entering the phase where questions will be allowed to be asked. And now at this point, January 29th, there's a discussion about whether or not there should be or will be witnesses to come before the Senate. Because remember, the Senate will now decide during this impeachment proceeding whether or not the president should be removed from office. That's the point that we're at. Doesn't look like he will be removed. But again, we should be watching, because the question becomes, if he's not removed, then what? Does he become emboldened? If he's not removed, what happens in the hearts of those, which is about at least half of the population, who feels he should be removed? If he's not removed, what will he say about what was done to him, and what kind of seeds and what kind of mind and what kind of potential action will he be planting in the hearts of Americans? We've already seen with this president. He has called certain people enemies, and we have seen people act on his words. Attacking other people, sending pipe bombs to people, threatening people. So again, very, very dangerous time. You better stay in touch with the Final Call.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brother Richard. Want to jump, and of course, as we always say, man, if you want to get all of the content, which if you are one who desires to be kept up to what's going on, you want to get the whole edition of the paper, you want to get access to it through the digital edition, through the brothers that are in the community, and the sisters.
Yes,
the sisters don't necessarily go out on the streets with the paper, but many, if you know a sister, MGT, and you don't know a brother, if you want to get the paper, I'm quite sure the sisters who are part of the Nation of Islam, the MGT, will definitely make a way to get you a paper. But I want to jump to this article, and then we'll jump into give you. I know there's a lot that's in here. I want to jump to the article, "The Mind of a Soldier," and then we'll jump to international news, whatever you got for that, and then we'll just. I know there's something else in here that you want to touch on. So we're looking at page 31, and of course our sister Audrey Muhammad has a piece dealing with the mind of a soldier. Can you give us a little bit about what that?
Well, again, you know, we run. Sister Audrey does a column that we run from time to time called "Get Fit to Live," and so she was talking about what it means to soldier and the elements of what it takes to be a soldier based on the teachings of the Honorable Elijah, and how important eating to live and following the guidance of the Honorable Elijah is to our success and is to our development of soldiers. So definitely you want to read this and check it out. We try to offer you news and features, and again, information you can use. And we say, read it, consider it, and if you can benefit from it, take hold of it, and use it for the benefit of yourself, your family, and your community. Because if we all can be a little better, then our community can be better. As Minister Farrakhan said to us many years ago, self-improvement is the basis for community development.
Absolutely.
So each of us has a responsibility to work on ourselves, to try to perfect ourselves, to try to bring out of us what is in us, that we can now impact our environment and make it better. So again, all kinds of beneficial information in the final call, just for you, independent. 40 years of publishing, because Allah has backed us, because we have a visionary minister, publisher, and because you have supported us, and the mighty men of the Nation of Islam have taken this truth in neighborhoods all over the country.
Thank you, Brother Rich. I know there's a few articles that are dealing with international news. If you could just touch on a few of those. I won't even say the most important ones, because all of them, they wouldn't be in our paper if it wasn't important news for our people to know. So can you just touch on
Well, we've got, again, we want to always get us oriented into what's happening in the world. To get us understanding the world is bigger than your block, is bigger than your city, is bigger than your state, and international events impact your life. So, for example, in Bolivia, we're talking about, again, questions and unrest there. This is in the Western Hemisphere. If there are problems, and we know that the U.S. loves to meddle in other countries, what does that mean for us? What does it mean for potential migrants fleeing areas? Often because U.S. foreign policy has helped to foment destruction. The U.S. has long time backed dictators in Latin America, Central America, South America. One of the other things that's very important is the continued plight of the Rohingya Muslims. These are Muslims in Myanmar who have suffered. They have been driven out of their homes. The world is watching, and in many cases, the world has not done enough. These are suffering black people. Take a look at it. And so when we bring you the global black experience, when we say to you that black is universal, then we want to talk about the universal struggles of our people and how it manifests, and how the global system of white supremacy continues to operate. So that's why you need to read the final call. You need to come to Savior's Day, our annual convention. February, I guess we'll be starting on the 20th, that Thursday.
Yes, sir.
In Detroit at the TCF Center.
Absolutely.
We will run through that Sunday. Everything, I believe, is at the TCF Center with the exception of our town hall meeting on separation featuring student minister Ava Muhammad, which I believe will be at the Shrine of the Black Madonna.
That's exactly right.
So, and of course, we will have the final call 40th anniversary dinner, which you really don't, brother, sister. There's only one 40th anniversary dinner. We're going to be there, inshallah. Our minister will be there, so spread the word. He will be there speaking to us after we honor those who have helped to make this institution a success. That's Friday night, February 21st, TCF Ballroom. Go to NOI.org, get your tickets now. Come on down, have a great time.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Of course, we're not finished talking about Savior's Day. I know there's a few articles we skipped. I'll give you a second so you can kind of think of what you want us to end on. But I'm going to touch on Savior's Day for a little bit. Of course, one of the benefits of tuning in, is that sometimes we share a little treat with you and get you information that is not even in the paper yet, because we getting it. This is the hub right now at the final call, or where you can get the latest and greatest. But also joining in the town hall meeting with Student Minister Ava Muhammad will be, we have a Dr. Cheryl Mango. I'm interested in hearing this sister, because the way that Student Minister Ava has talked about her, and just one of the things that's important as we have these town hall meetings is that, of course, those who know Minister Ava love Minister Ava. But it's not just about the Nation of Islam, as many of us may have a limited perspective about it, but it's also really about getting our community involved. So we actually have Brother Patrick Alexander, as well as Dr. Joanne Watson. So you can look those people up on internet and social media, and gives you a different perspective that we're bringing not just those who are registered citizens of the nation into this town hall meeting, but it's really about bringing our community together. As the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has given the title of this town hall meeting, the black man and woman must consider separation. So,
and these are pretty powerful people. Joanne Watson is a long-time just freedom fighter, educator, politician in Detroit. And we're always honored to be in Detroit, which is the birthplace of the movement called the Nation of Islam. And it's always great to come home. We always welcome you back. But this meeting, the black man and woman must consider separation town hall, Saturday, February 22nd, at the Shrine of the Black Madonna. Go to NOI.org and get the information, right? NOI.org. Get the final call. We got to add in here. But it is going to be an incredible session. I mean, you can imagine Dr. Ava Muhammad by herself. Now imagine her with people that have been in a struggle. I mean, and imagine these are people in Detroit. So Detroit has some history. Detroit has some struggles. So what are they going to be able to say to us about what has happened, not just yesterday, but what is happening today in Detroit, and what are the implications for cities around the country? Flint, Michigan is right down the street. You forgot about the water crisis? So there's a lot going on, and you really want to go to NOI.org and get the information. You want to stay tuned to finalcall.com. But you must put on your agenda Saturday, February 22nd, Shrine of the Black Madonna in Detroit. The black man and woman must consider separation town hall meeting led by Student Minister Ava Muhammad. Go to NOI.com, NOI.org, right?
Yes, sir.
Go to NOI.org for information. Go to finalcall.com for information. Sign up for e-blast or whatever we offer. But you want to be here. And this is free. This is free.
Can you say that again?
This is free.
Praise you to Allah. And I just got a question. The brother said, is Savior's Day only for people in the Nation of Islam? Is it just one day? And of course, the answer to that is absolutely not. It is for our people. Of course, as you'll find on the website as well as in the paper, it opens up, as Brother Richard mentioned, it opens up on Thursday evening at 8 p.m. with Elevated Places, a radio show that is brings in guests from around the world and the country. But that same person who will be the host of the town hall meeting, Student Minister Ava Muhammad, so we can expect some of the what has been going on with the town hall meeting to be discussed in that panel or discussed on the radio show. And it's going to be a live radio show, so that means that audiences, you can come, and if you've heard it, it's a weekly show that she has on Blog Talk Radio every Thursday, but this gives you an opportunity to actually come in and actually see the show and participate. We're going to have an opportunity for people to ask questions and be very engaging, so you definitely don't want to miss that. And then we move to Friday. All of the workshops this Savior's Day will focus on the Muslim program, which you can find right in the inside, page 39, inside of the Final Call newspaper, and this gives you what the Muslims want and what the Muslims believe. So check that out. But all of these workshops are going to really deal with action. It's not just the talk. And all of these things connect to what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said is the best and only solution, which is separation. So there's things that we have to have in place. There's in terms of government, in terms of being able to support our needs, dealing with disaster. There's the disasters that are going on in our community, dealing with the sex trafficking of our women. All of these are topics that will allow willing be dealt with during Savior's Day. And of course, Muslims, we pray. We recognize the remembrance of Allah, we're taught, is the greatest force. So we have to remember Allah in all that we do. Brother Richard has mentioned the 40th anniversary of the Final Call newspaper, the celebration, banquet celebration. And it's not just the banquet celebration. Is we gonna be straight up with you. We need some money. We need some help supporting. So it's actually a fundraiser as well.
Well, it is turning out, well, we can use all the support we get.
Yes.
So buy your tickets.
Can you give us some, Brother Richard? Can you give us some that we can expect at this banquet?
I mean, I'm going to start with the top, from the top, and take it from the top and work backwards. We can expect some incredible words from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Being able to look back over 40 years. Now, we know just a few years ago, right? 2014, 2015. We saw the minister booming on social media, and we were so happy because his word was touching so many people. And we were glad to see this new tool, see it being used, see it being properly used, seeing how he was touching people all over the world. But in the past year, we have seen a concerted effort to blunt, still, and silence his voice. Banned from these social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you read the article we ran a couple weeks ago, his Twitter account, which was inactive, meaning he could not post anything, went from like inactive to disappear and then reappeared, still inactive. Where would we be if we did not have the final call to be able to tell our own story? So 40 years ago, 1979 to 2019 is 40 years. We are celebrating that 40th anniversary at our convention so that we can do it on a national level and have everybody that wants to participate. Where would we be if Allah had not blessed this man to understand and to follow in the footsteps of his teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, whose first publication in the 30s was The Final Call to Islam? Where would we be if the minister had simply said, well, we will get the word out through the mainstream media, we'll let them tell our story? No. If you're going to be a self-determined people, you need an independent source of information, independent analysis, and you need independent distribution of your information. We have all of that with the Final Call. Our platform, past, present, and future. So we're going to have some great words from the minister on February 21st. Get your tickets, just $100, great night, NOI.org. You can even get tickets by table now. You can go to finalcall.com. You can find us on Facebook and on Twitter. We want you to record a little video showing what the Final Call has meant to you. Brothers, post your pictures and use the hashtag FCN40 and hashtag Final Call 40th. But that night, all the Muslims dressed up, looking good, smelling good. That night, a recognition of an institution that has been recognized as one of the great journalistic outlets in the country in the black community. That night, looking back historically at where we came from, looking at those who have sacrificed to bring us from where we were to where we are, and that night, some discussion of where we hope to be, need to be, must be in the future and an appeal for young people to come on and get involved. What are you waiting for? So you don't want to miss it. There's only one 40th anniversary. You want to be there. NOI.org. Get your tickets individually. Get your tickets by table. And come on out and have a great time.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So, Brother Richard, are there any other articles we need to touch on as we come to a close?
I think we basically touched on them. The rest you got to go to finalcall.com and check them out. But the 40th anniversary dinner, get your tickets. Separation town hall meeting at the Shrine of the Black Madonna. That's Saturday. Be there on the 22nd. And of course, the 23rd, the crowning event of Black History Month. The message to be delivered by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan at the TCF Center in Detroit. That is on February 23rd. Go to NOI.org and get your tickets. Get your information. And I'm saying, brothers and sisters, if you have never been to Savior's Day, you owe it to yourself to go. And I guarantee you will have a good time. No cussing, no fighting, no arguing, no disrespect, but peace, dignified, civilized, intelligent, hugs and love and kind spirits and beautiful words, and us looking out for one another. Ain't no police policing us. We're a self-respecting, self-policing community. And when you have the knowledge of who you are and love for self, you can police yourself. And you treat your brothers and sisters, and even those who are not your brothers and sisters, as you wish to be treated. So you really need to see all these great workshops. We didn't even talk about the drill competition, nor some of these other great events. So come on down. You owe it to yourself to be in Detroit. February 20th, that Thursday night, we start with the Elevated Places broadcast. That Friday night, we go to the Final Call dinner, but you have events all day Friday, Doom of Prayer, workshops and talks. Saturday, Separation Town Hall meeting and workshops and graduations and drill competitions. And Sunday, February 23rd, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan closes us out. What do you think he might say in a time like this? And can you afford to miss it? You need to make it your business to be there, and I guarantee you won't regret it.
Absolutely. And I just, of course, we got updates coming in as we speak. There will be, Allah willing, a screen of a video, and I saw the trailer. You should search it, and you'll see it online. But Black Girls in Peril, that'll be a screening that'll be available. There'll be more updates on exactly the time, but I believe it's going to be on Friday as well as Saturday. And it's the author of, I believe it's based off a book that was written called Black Girls in Peril, but there's a documentary, and the author of the book, of the doc, and the I guess the one who started the documentary, she'll be there, inshallah, and it's definitely an interesting piece. It's dealing with many of these violent episodes that have been happening with our young girls, with the police officers and the schools, and just really, something that we need to be aware, because of course we know that the black man has been under attack, but when we see the increasing attacks on the black woman, it's really disheartening. And sometimes we don't necessarily give that as much publicity in the wider world, but of course the final call is always making sure that we update with all of those.
We cover the attacks on black men, women, and children, because all of us are under assault.
And I want to lead on this last thing because, of course, it was his birth, I believe his birth anniversary recently, but we got a picture of somebody that's right behind the scene. For those who don't know.
I don't know if you can see
it.
Yeah,
you can see it. You can see
it right there?
Yeah, that picture right there.
Well, that is my mentor. That is our late, great editor, Abdul Wali Muhammad, who was such a force. In my life and such a force in this institution. So we will be remembering him and his sacrifice. And if you happen to know him, or any of his children, or any of his relatives, We've extended invitations to them, and we still looking to hear back. But we will not forget, by Allah's grace, Abdul Wali Muhammad, the mysterious circumstances around his death over 20 years ago now. Because he was committed. He was a visionary. We would not be where we are today without him. 2 of the Final Call editors over the last 40 years were directly produced by him. Brother James G. Muhammad and myself, and Sister Dora Muhammad, who was a managing editor for the Final Call, is not a direct journalistic descendant, if you will, but she was made by those who descended from him in terms of our journalistic outlook and training. Incredible brother. We will never forget him. We will always honor him. So why don't you come out? You might learn a little something about him.
Yes, sir. So once again, we're going to end on Savior's Day 2020.
2020.
Hopefully you'll be able to see clear. 2020, Savior's Day 2020 starts Thursday, February 20th. Go to the website, NOI.org. I want to say /SD 2020. You'll see a banner on the website as soon as you go to
NOI.org and click something.
You want to make sure some of those highlight events, of course, are Minister Ava's radio show Thursday evening. Of course, on Friday we have the Final Call 40th anniversary banquet dinner celebration and town hall meeting on Saturday. Why the black man and woman must consider separation. Panelists include Dr. Cheryl Mango, Dr. Joanne Watson, Patrick and Alexander, Professor Aaron Smith, of course, Student Minister Ava Muhammad, and of course the crowning event of Black History Month, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's keynote address. We don't have a title yet, but you should stick around and continue to listen to the show, because that may just go ahead and drop right here on this show for the first time when we get that information. So make sure you're liking, following, sharing, subscribing, all of that good stuff. Until next time, Behind the Final Call cover story. Assalamu alaikum.